Hello, and welcome to Moscato and Tea. This is the show for all things beauty, business, and community with your hosts, Inez and Chiquita, keeping it raw, real, and unfiltered.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello there, lady.
Welcome back to season 3.
Yes.
Is that what we're in now?
Yeah, we're in season 3 now.
We're in season 3. And we've been having a long, couple... hold on. Let me do that over. My brain is gone.
I know. What is wrong with you?
I can't
remember.
Okay, yes.
We're not...
this whole new season.
Yes.
Let me read.
Yeah, we're in season 3.
Yes. Okay.
Hello. How are we doing? How's your week? How was your week? How's it been?
Yes.
I will do intros.
You started. My brain. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, lady. What's going on?
Hey, not much. How you doing?
Good. Working, hustling, doing the same thing every day.
Yeah, I understand. I'm exhausted just like you.
Girl, the bags yes, under the eyes. Luckily, I look cute.
Yes, you do. So that means I'm going to have to come in and get a little touch-up from you.
Absolutely. You got to get that, keep it right. It's summertime now.
Hey!
Hopefully, it'll get a little hotter and things will get a little better. It's this weather out here, how it goes. It's up and down.
It really is crazy.
So besides our craziness and you know how we do things, we do have a special guest in here today. Yes,
such an amazing guest.
So why don't you go ahead and do the intro for this lovely, lovely lady that we're super honored to have and so forth. Go ahead.
Welcome to the show, Claudia Arevalo.
Yes, thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
Super excited to be here.
Yes, we're so excited to have you here and so thankful and grateful for you to come, and we truly appreciate you taking out your time.
Absolutely. And with that said, what's our tradition that we always do when we have our little guests besides ourselves? A little Moscato!
Woo! Yay! Let's get
girl.
Bottles popping.
Crack it. So we had to do the intro. So we do this so we can have a full-on conversation.
Yes. Big old conversation.
It's like a big old. I think that was indication of you need a big old glass.
yes, we do. We have water too, but the Moscato you can never go wrong.
Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers. Woohoo! Well, let's get to it, ladies.
Yeah.
Let's get the conversation started.
So why don't we introduce Claudia? Claudia, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes.
And kind of tell us what is going on, who do you work for, what's about, and give us a little introduction.
Definitely. So my name is Claudia Arevalo. I work for the East LA Women's Center. We are a rape crisis center. We're one of about 6, I want to say. There might be more. I'm sorry for everybody if there's more. Centers here in the southern Los Angeles area. So we service primarily like East LA, Boyle Heights, and stuff like that. And so what we do is we provide services for victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, human trafficking. We also have free HIV testing and counseling. We have a youth program. We have a volunteer program. We have promotora programs. So we do a lot. It's a lot of community engagement, but primarily what we're there for is to provide free and confidential services for survivors of violence.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
Yes.
So why don't we tell about how we so we went to the center.
Yes.
And
through a mutual friend,
yes,
we found out about your organization, and I was like, we have to have you guys come on. We have to talk about this, get the conversation going. I mean, I know we have the Me Too movement right now, and so it was just one of those things where I just wanted to see what we could do and our show can do to bring more of a message to our listeners. And so I was like, here, I emailed you, and then you responded, and it was like, we can come in for a tour, and I was like,
and
amazing.
It was amazing. It was very humbling.
Yes.
Enlightening. Yes, humbling and enlightening, because at the end of the day, it was a realization that it could be any of us. And we know someone who, it doesn't matter. It could be yourself. It could be someone you know. You really have no idea how many people are victims of violence of some way, domestic, sexual,
men or women.
Yeah, both men and women, which also concludes that you also have a men's program.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about the men's program as well?
We do have a men's program. We will service men for whatever they need, if they were victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. And we do see men at our center like right now. And so we provide individual therapy for them the same way, any accompaniment services they might need to court, to the hospital, things like that. And we specifically have a men's circle designated at our center that is held once a week for males who not only are necessarily direct survivors of violence, but also if like they're having issues. So like we will invite the partners of those individuals who are being harmed, so the folks who are causing harm, right, to come in and talk amongst themselves. We usually won't take anyone where it's like very extreme, like court ordered, like batters intervention programs, like not that, but like we know there's like verbal abuse where we see like the cycle starting. We invite them in and say, look, this is a safe space held by men for men who want to be better for their partners, who want to be better for those in their lives and their loved ones, because we know a lot of the time there's something that happened in their past, that there's something there that normalized violence for them, and we don't want to see them go down that path, So we want to provide an intervention before it's too late, before it gets worse in a sense, right? And so we also hold a circle for men who are survivors, like directly survivors of any form of violence. That's the one that we hold out of East Los Angeles College. And so that's open to the community, anyone who has experienced some form of violence to come and find solidarity with other men, because we know this can be a really hard thing to open up about in general. Yeah, so there's having that support network of men. And then we also work really closely with the Compadres Network, and they hold a monthly meeting at our center where they literally it's a bunch of dudes who come together and just hang out, and like it's just supposed to be a safe space with healthy masculinity, and healthy forms of communication. I know right now we're in like the midst of getting a barbecue because they're like, we should have carne asadas, and like do that as part of like our monthly meeting. And we were like, yes, like that's a beautiful idea. So we're in like the midst of all of that right now. But that's really what, the specific men's circles are. But like I said, any other services we provide for anyone.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, sorry. So with that said, there was, with your center, it's, how do you guys, how do you, funding for your center? What is it? How do you guys get your funding? What do we do? How can our listeners or people who want to help fund your program help
get the message out there?
Yes, the message out there and help fund your program.
So we are primarily funded by the state. So we fight tooth and nail to get grants, and it takes a lot of effort to keep those grants. And sometimes they change, from year to year. It always just depends on the administration. I'm not going to name names, but it really does just depend on who's in office and, where their priorities are. And unfortunately right now we're seeing funding is kind of being, it's being minimized, and it's being minimized as a problem that's not as important. So, if folks, we also do fund a lot of our programs through donations. So folks can directly donate to the center. All of that information is on our website at elawc.org. So you can go directly on there to donate if you're interested, or if you ever see us at any events and stuff, we'll always take donations and stuff like that. But, there's also like donating time, right? And so we have our promotoras, those are our Spanish-speaking members of the community who are doing volunteer hours for us, and that's very helpful, as far as like what the center needs. And we also have like our volunteer program in general, which is what I manage. And so folks are there and they get trained to basically like go on our hotline. They get trained to go on accompaniment. They get trained to do outreach, go to court, go to the hospital, all that good stuff. So all the stuff that we already do, but they can do it as volunteers if that's another way. Maybe they don't have money to donate, but they have time. So yeah.
Nice. What would be like the first steps when someone comes into your center? What do you guys do?
What, as a victim, or
as a victim when they come into the center? What do you guys do? Like, who do you?
Sorry, I was thinking like as a volunteer. Or as yes, somebody with
it all happens
the first
differently.
Steps, like that you guys take.
So it always depends. Like sometimes people call our hotline and like that's how they get linked to services to us right away, or they come in as walk-ins. And it always depends on like what they need, because like we have a new shelter program. I totally forgot to mention that earlier, but we do have a shelter and it's booming right now, and so it's an emergency 24-hour shelter. So they would have to go through an intake process, see if they qualify and stuff like that. But if they wanted services, like maybe not shelter, like those kind of emergency services, all they would need to do is come in and do what we call a fact sheet. So we take down basic information, what's going on, what is it that they need. We can provide crisis intervention over the phone or in person, during that time if they're really like in need at that moment to talk to someone, to vent about what happened, because maybe this is something they've been holding in for a long time. Maybe it just happened and it's really impacting them, that, it always looks different. And then from there, we will get back to them to do a full intake appointment with a therapist. And that's really it. They just need like a form of identification, but we don't need insurance. We don't need, like anything that proves your legal status here, anything like that. All the services are free.
So important.
Yes.
So like basically what she's telling you, if you're out there and you're in LA and you need help, please go and they will help you. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is your safety and helping you be able to be safe and get out of a situation that you're not safe in.
Right. Yeah.
Which is super important. I think especially nowadays, people are scared. They're afraid. They're afraid to seek out services and help. This organization is telling you it's confidential.
Exactly.
So that's also really important that it doesn't matter. They're not going to rat you out. They're not going to report to police. That there's steps and there's things that they follow through, and it's all if you are the victim, they lead through your leads and what it is that makes you comfortable and makes you feel safe. So for you to lead on, so it's really important. I think people don't realize that that's like what you're doing, because they say, "Oh, confidential." How really but you need my ID. It's just to make sure and verify that you are who you are.
Yeah,
that's it. Where it's not about anything else. It's not about not being safe. It's more about your safety and getting you out of that situation. And too many, it's now, like she said, the Me Too movement, I think more and more people are starting to speak out. So this is an opportunity to feel safe and know that there is repercussion for people who are doing the violence, whichever else. They're showing that it's coming to a head. I mean, there's goods and bads in this. Good, it started from the top. We're talking, 45 down, but it's showing that now people are just over it. It's done. It doesn't have to be a hidden secret anymore.
Right. Yeah. Because it is so hard for folks to come forward. It is something that is so scary, and your power and control gets taken away, whether it's domestic violence or sexual assault. Like somebody takes control of your life at that point in one aspect or another, and it's really hard to come out of that, which is why I'm so happy you brought it up. We use what we call the feminist empowerment model, which means I don't know your story that well. Even if you tell me part of it, I don't know the whole story. So I'm gonna defer to the person who's coming in and asking me for help. What is the best option? Because even if I think, as an advocate that maybe this person needs a restraining order, I really want them to get a restraining order, but they know their partner better than I do. They know that person might react way more negatively to a restraining order than if they don't do that at all, So I would rather go with them, knowing what they know and knowing how to keep themselves safe to make sure that, we're doing the services in the way that is really putting the power back in their hands and putting things back in their control.
Absolutely, which is helping, like knowing that you have a little bit of control and that you're taking control of your life. I think that's a huge step, and for people to move forward and go forward and realize that you don't have to live like that. It's not, back in the day, quiet silence, shaming the family. At this point, who cares? This is about your life. This is about your well-being, your safety. If what about children? If they have children, like how does that go? Encompass to the whole situation.
Yeah, and so we have a lot of clients who come in with kids, and so the shelter will take children. Even if your child is over 18, like they can be included in like your whole like needing to come to shelter, right? So like let's say we have a mom who has an 18-year-old son, for example, and the 18-year-old son will become homeless as a result of domestic violence if the mom needs to leave. Like that's going to be the same conversation, It's just like it'll be like a separate intake process because they're over 18 and like they're their own adult, but that doesn't disqualify them, for example. And then for moms who come to the center with their children, like to do therapy or like group they need to do group and stuff like that, we can provide, what we call RESPA. So we watch their kids for them for free. Yeah, and so we have like that play area and everything. We have like TVs and stuff like that. We have volunteers who come in and try to work with the kids, to have them do like activities so they're not just sitting there. But yeah, so we do provide that for folks who are interested in services. And that's a huge, huge portion of like, why people hesitate to do services. They're like, where am I going to take my kids? Like, what am I going to do? Have a baby, for example, like we'll take care of them. Oh my God, everybody in the office goes nuts when we see a baby.
I bet.
Yes.
How is it? I know we talked about, you have a program for teen girls. And
yes.
Everything. How is that came about?
Yeah. So our youth program, started as, aspects of prevention, right? So So everything I talked about up to this point is intervention. So we're talking about like something already happened and we need to help this person, right? Like whether it's shelter, therapy, things like that. So with the prevention program, which is the youth program, the concept is that we're trying to get them before something happens, right? We're trying to inform these girls and we're trying to expand it to boys. So if anybody knows about funding for that, please hit us up. But right now we just have our youth program for girls for anywhere from the ages of 12 to 24. And so they basically join this group. They have to go through this leadership training.